On the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, I would like to reflect on how far Australia and the United States have come, and the important work we have ahead of us for the security and prosperity of both our countries, our region, and our world. 75 years ago, jubilant crowds filled the streets in Australian cities and towns, the largest crowds ever to have gathered in Australia. In Washington, D.C., 500,000 people flooded the streets. One soldier threw his arms around a civilian, shouting, "We're all civilians now." The joy expressed on both sides of the Pacific and around the world came at great cost. Tens of millions of people, including almost 40,000 Australians and 400,000 Americans, perished in the deadliest conflict the world had ever seen. Many of their bodies would never be recovered from where they fell. It is not hyperbole to say that the world we live in today exists because of their heroic actions. 75 years ago, President Harry Truman said, "The world is no longer county-sized, no longer state-sized, no longer nation-sized. It is a world in which we must all get along." There was no room for recriminations or revenge. Instead, the focus was on rebuilding and reconciliation. Our predecessors championed new international norms and institutions that would give as many as possible the opportunity for a better life. And so today, the United States' greatest allies include not only Australia, our mates in both world wars, but also Germany and Japan. Nations once our most bitter enemies, now amongst our closest friends. Lands once ruined and razed, now free and thriving. Not all that followed the end of the war was happy or planned, but much was achieved. Lives rebuilt, governments returned to the people, and a new peace established. 75 years ago, announcing that the war had been won, Prime Minister Ben Chifley said that Australia would give all that it has to working and planning to ensure that the peace will be a real thing. President Truman said, "We will need the help of all of you, and I know that we will get it." The unbreakable alliance between Australia and the United States was forged in war, but honed during peace. Both our nations saw that from the wreckage of the war, there was an opportunity to build a more peaceful, more prosperous, more inclusive Indo-Pacific region and world. So today, we honor the men and women who fought, sacrificed, and died for their countries and for the dream of a better world. Our debt of gratitude to that generation can never be repaid, but let us remember their valor, their faith, and their dedication. Let us pledge to always stand for the ideals for which they lived and died: democracy, individual freedom, the rule of law, liberty. And let us honor them by striving for a more just, secure, and free region and world for all.